bearish, and we have seen some momentum build up. So I still do think we are on the cards for another move to the downside. Of course, what happens today with the NFP could change all of that. I'm not really looking to get involved in any USD positions anyway until the ghost is clear from that. But yeah, in my book, I still do see more downside for the dollar. We tried to break through the high, that failed miserably. Looks like we are kind of stalling a little bit at the low here. So I wonder how that does develop, whether we form a big double bottom here to push up higher, or do we crack the support and see some more downside? I do favor the latter, but in terms of opportunities, not really playing ball. Yesterday I was talking about a retracement back to this area here, had some nice confluence there, retesting the high there, retesting the 0.5, 0.618 of that same level. And that could be a really nice place to short dollar from. But we formed a lower high just below that, and we had a bit of a spillover to the downside. So USD, I still do expect more of the same, but now's not the time to be anticipating downside. As you're approaching support, we very much could bounce here. So what I would like to see is price to break through support, break that that area of structure, and then of course that'll leave behind some resistance for us to play off and expect more downside. And I'm expecting similar things on euro and on pound as well, which we'll get to in a moment. But I want to see price break through that low first. It's like my voice has it in for me today. Break through that low first, and then we can talk about some opportunities later on. But yeah, didn't quite get that retest of 107. Still could. Maybe NFP does push us into that level, and then we can talk about some shorts, but not quite there. If we go over to EURUSD, and this one actually had a really nice daily candle closure yesterday. As you can see, really nice bullish closure. I mean, not breaking resistance, but at least showing some momentum. So it would be nice if you can get another close above the high. But again, the key thing with euro is that we're failing to break through the low here. Massive wick through that area last week. And since then, the market's been slowly building to the upside. Quite frankly, it's mainly consolidation, really. If you try and not look too much into it, we just kind of moved sideways for the past few days, which is a good sign because it means that sellers are starting to fail to break structure. They've been so successful at pushing price down. Now we're failing to break through the lows. Buyers are kind of holding that territory. So if you can see a strong break of the high here for euro, that will be a strong indication that the buyers stepping back into the market. USD is probably weak again. And yeah, pullbacks afterwards will look like a really nice opportunity to take price higher. So yeah, going forward with euro, still bullish, still looking upside. Again, now's not the best time to be looking for any entries to take advantage of that bias as we come back into resistance. Not the best time to be looking to buy. It's either we retrace back to the lows here. Yesterday we were talking about this double bottom and played out pretty well. So see, we come back and test support, we go break through. If you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, not a bad place for it. It's just I don't really have a sell bias with euro. I'm pretty bullish, expecting higher highs and higher lows to form. So I'm kind of waiting for that to develop before I do find my entries. But something like this is what I would be interested in. And again, looking to take a bounce as we are trading off that massive swing low on the daily, weekly chart. So there's a lot of room to the upside for euro. Just waiting for a good setup on the lower time frames to actually trade that bias. And it hasn't quite risen yet, but hopefully in the next few hours you might see something happen. Pound USD also showing similar signs of bullish momentum. I believe we did take up the highs. Yeah, again, not the most impulsive move in the world, which is not a great sign, especially when we had such a big drop over the past few days, few weeks. You kind of want to see some strength in the market to the upside, really indicating that the buyers are back in town, sellers are backing off. It's still a little bit corrective, so not ideal. Would like price to push a little bit more impulsively, a little bit more aggressively before I do find any pullbacks. We only just cleared the high anyway, so it's nothing where I'll look to follow. But if we can see some pullbacks after a strong move, there could be some nice buys. I've talked about this area here quite a lot as a nice area of resistance we can target around 1.285, 286. So the bias for pound, the bias for euro, of course, is the same, similar pairs anyway. You can see the higher lows the market's been printing. Could be seeing another one in that same area. And we do have a healthy area of resistance there where we could at least get to, even if the bigger move is still down, we expect price to come back and retest such areas. then maybe continue lower if that's the case. But yeah, still looking at upside. We broke through structure last week, which is great. We've had a bit of a pullback and some more upside, so it's been a nice kind of pullback continuation. Effectively, what we've been looking for hasn't quite fit my plan in terms of the risk reward and the entries I've been looking for, but we have seen a higher low form and now just about a higher high. But me being a bit picky, I still want to see a bit more momentum there before I look to follow that myself. But we are starting to print some bullish structure, so if that can continue, see a bit more strength, hopefully I can find a trade for that one maybe sometime next week. Dollar CAD still taking its sweet time. Saw a bit of downside yesterday, but hasn't really done anything in terms of breaking any structure, which has been my main focus this week anyway, breaking through this low here and looking for some lower highs after that. That's really been the plan with dollar CAD because at this moment in time, the market's still bullish, still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So I'm not really interested in the buys, especially where we're trading. Looks like the market is struggling to break through the high. Again, we're struggling to break through the high now, but that might not be the case after NFP. Maybe if USD becomes very, very strong, we see a massive candle to the upside and price is looking bullish again. If that's the case, I want price to really continue, make new highs again, and then I'll be looking for the next pullback after that. Because if that's the case, we've broken through weekly structure at that point. It's a confirmed breakout, healthy breakout, seeing some momentum. NFP confirms that momentum as well. So yeah, I'll be very bullish on dollar CAD if that's the case and looking for opportunities above that level. But I'm not quite convinced just yet, especially with the monthly candle close, especially with the weekly candle close of last week, not really showing strength to the upside. So that's why I'm looking for the break of structure and waiting for some lower highs to develop afterwards. But like I said, if NFP has something else in store, I'll be very quick to shift my bias around and look to take the opposite direction. The last thing you want to do is have a bias and be stubborn to change it, especially in the world of FX, where direction can change quite a lot. So you want to be able to be flexible. So if things do change and we get a really strong close this week and things look very bullish, then yeah, I'll look to follow that move. If not, then I'm still going to wait for that break of structure. If I shift over to Aussie dollar, so yeah, this one's still trading at 0.64. I'm still waiting for a bit more development. Before I do take any buys, the market's still looking bearish, still seeing consecutive lower lows and lower highs, and that's great. But I want to see price start to form some equal lows or a higher high and a higher low, and that's kind of what I'm looking for a trade. Because at this moment in time, the market's still bearish, and for all we know, we could still very much break through this level. We don't have to necessarily hold that support. It's a big support on the daily chart. We've seen two evidently clear massive rejections off this level, so there is a lot of room to the upside from this area. However, don't want to jump the gun and at least wait for a sign that the market is stalling. I had a nice bounce yesterday, which is great. Let's see if that can start to shift and give us a nice structure to take to the upside. And the USD is looking okay as well. This one looks like it's slowly forming a bit of a double bottom here. It's not quite there yet, but if I expand to the daily chart, you can see we've come back into a really big swing low. Price tested it last week. Really nice aggressive reaction. So it looks like we're slowly falling back to that level. It could be a nice trade on the double bottom, anticipating a bounce. As I said yesterday, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade because, again, structure hasn't really shifted yet, but you're anticipating that higher low or that equal low to form at that area, which makes sense in terms of the risk reward. It makes sense as well. If you're waiting for a more conservative opportunity, then yeah, you do want to see that trend kind of shift first and try and find some higher lows after, which could take some time. But if that's the type of trade you're looking for, yeah, you're gonna have to be patient anyway. But yeah, USD trading at a really nice area where we could expect to bounce again. Looking for that double bottom at 0.58. Again, waiting for confirmations because we could still break through. But it's an area where I do expect us to at least have a bit of a bounce from for USD, and we'll go from there. And in terms of gold and silver, so gold, again, not a big fan of gold at all. We had a bit of a sell-off yesterday for gold, but didn't really amount to much. Price came back into support, struggled to break through, and had a bit of a push to the upside. So yeah, not really liking the price action for gold. I did say this looks like a decent place for a short. As you can see, a bit of supply there. We stalled there for a few hours. Big drop to the downside. So I do like 2670. The fact that we had such a big impulse and price has been so corrective means that this is a nice area to short from as well. So if price was to get there, I still think the shorts look good. I just wouldn't be too optimistic in terms of the targets. Price is forming some really strong support down here at 26.10. I think that looks like a really healthy target. Depending on your entry, could be a great trade. But in terms of the longer term move for gold, I'm still very bullish on the market. Still expecting price to swing back to the highs, eventually 27.86. But I just don't really have a play for that yet. So although I'm longer term bullish, there is really no setup that's ticking my boxes just yet. So I have to stay patient with that one. But more of an intra-week trade, I think something like that could look good at some point if we get there. In terms of silver, I actually like silver. It looks like it's slowly developing as well. We're trying to break the highs. Haven't done that successfully just yet, but it looks like we're slowly getting there. So I really want to see price make a bit of a stance, bit of a statement, break the highs with some impulsivity, and then I'll be looking for some pullbacks afterwards for the higher lows. Looks like we're forming a really nice double bottom down here. And if I expand to the daily chart real quick and map out the low to the high, you can see we just about got to 0.618. Lovely double bottom there. And now I'm expecting that potential trend to continue. Impulse correction, hopefully another impulse back to the high. So the plan is now that if that is the low, if that is the double bottom for the next high low, and now we're going to see the continuation, let's start breaking the highs now. Let's start looking for pullbacks and hopefully get a push all the way back to the high there. So yeah, silver looks good. Gold, not so much, but overall pretty bearish in USD still.